chosen one. God has tried twice. This is the third time. And he does not raise his voice 3 times for a soul that does not matter. He raises it 3 times only when there is something so important on the other side of your obedience that the universe is willing to bend itself just to get you there. You did not arrive at this message by accident. The first warning came as a feeling you did not have language for. The second came as a circumstance that did not make sense. Both were sent in love. Both were softened so they would not break you. But softness is not the third warning's language. Tonight, heaven is finally allowed to be specific. In every story heaven tells, the number 3 is the number of completion. 3 days in the tomb, 3 denials before dawn, 3 warnings before the door either opens forever or closes for a season. You are not here to be shamed for missing the first 2. You are here because the third warning is the answer to a prayer you forgot you prayed. And in the next few minutes, the entire pattern becomes legible. Before I show you what each of those warnings was, you need to know one thing. This message is not for everyone listening tonight. Some scrolls passed by it, some stopped for a second and moved on, but your scroll stopped here. Your eyes landed on these words, and there is a reason for that. The same hand that warned you twice has now placed this third warning directly in your path. And the only question that matters now is whether you will stay long enough to receive what it is actually carrying. If something in your spirit is already saying yes, subscribe to align with the chosen ones who are walking this same path. There are more words being prepared for your next season, and they need to know where to find you when they are ready. I want you to stay all the way to the end of this message, because by the time we close, you will have something most people never receive. You will have the decoding of what each of the 3 warnings was actually trying to say to you. You will understand why your spirit could not hear the first 2 even though they were given clearly. You will have a practical pause protocol you can begin tonight in your own room with no equipment, no apps, and no extra effort, only subtraction. You will have a guided activation of the inner watchtower of your spirit, the one that allows you to hear the next warning before it has to repeat itself. And at the very end there is a declaration prepared for your life, a sealing that I believe will stay with you long after this message has gone quiet. So do not leave early. The most important part is at the end, and the third warning does not finish until you do. Let me show you something. Picture a normal afternoon in your life over the past few months. Not a special day, not a crisis, just a regular Tuesday. Maybe a quiet evening at home, maybe a moment in your car between 2 errands. The light is ordinary, the room is ordinary. And then with no warning, a feeling arrives that does not belong to anything you are doing. It is not anxiety, it is not sadness, it is something quieter. It is a sense that something is off, even though everything around you is fine. You sit with it for a few seconds, you notice it, and then your phone lights up or someone calls your name or the next thing on your list pulls you forward and the feeling slips away before you ever named it. That feeling was the first warning, and you have had it more than once. You had it 3 or 4 times in the last 6 months alone. Each time it tried to interrupt your forward motion. Each time you did not have the language to interpret it, so you treated it like static. You called it stress, you called it overthinking, you called it nothing. But heaven does not send static into the spirit of a chosen one. Every quiet interruption was a knock, and the knocks were getting louder. There is a second sign you have probably been ignoring without realizing it. A phrase has been appearing in your life. The same phrase or the same idea returning to you in 3 or 4 unrelated places within a short window of time. A song lyric on the radio, then the exact same line in a conversation with a friend the same week. Then a stranger says something almost identical in a place you did not expect to hear it. You smiled at the coincidence. You may have even said the word coincidence out loud, but heaven does not repeat itself for coincidence. Heaven repeats itself when something needs to be heard, and the first time was missed, and the second time was missed, and now the third time is being arranged so it cannot be denied. The third sign is the inner unease that has been visiting you at strange hours. It does not always come at night. Sometimes it is in the middle of the day, in the middle of something good, in the middle of a moment that should feel peaceful. A weight settles on your spirit out of nowhere. There is no event that explains it. You scan your life for the cause and find nothing. You assume it is your own mind playing tricks, but your mind is not the source. The unease is a translation. It is your spirit translating a frequency your conscious awareness has not yet learned to read, and that frequency has been broadcasting on the same line for months. The fourth sign is the strangest one, and it is the one most chosen ones forget to take seriously. It is the moment of déjà vu that arrives in the middle of a warning you do not yet recognize as a warning. Someone says something to you and for a split second you feel like you have lived this exact moment before. Or you walk into a room and an old feeling rises up from somewhere underneath your awareness, even though nothing in the room is familiar. The déjà vu is not random. It is the imprint of an earlier warning your spirit recorded, but your conscious mind did not. The first time it came, you registered it underneath your awareness. The second time, your spirit recognized the imprint. And the third time is the moment your conscious mind is finally being asked to catch up with what your spirit already knows. Let me pause here for a moment because I have been giving you a lot at once. You have been listening for a few minutes now and you are still here. That alone is significant. There are people who left this message in the first 60 seconds because their spirit was not ready for it tonight. And that is okay for them. But you stayed. Something in you wanted the rest of what this is. And I want you to feel just for a breath the quiet privilege of being the one who stayed when the message thinned out the room. Now hear me carefully. Everything I have just shown you, the feeling without a name, the repeated phrase, the unease at strange hours, the déjà vu, all of it is only the surface. These are the behavioral signs. They are how the warnings looked from the outside in your daily life, in the part of you that scrolls and works and answers texts. But underneath that surface is a second layer that almost no one decodes. Underneath the behavioral signs is what each warning was trying to do to you and for you and inside of you. That is the part that changes everything once you see it, and the moment you see it, you will not be able to unsee it again. So stay with me. Let me show you what the second layer looks like. The behavioral signs are the surface. They are how the warning showed up on the outside in the visible part of your life, but every behavioral sign was also a translation of something deeper, and the deeper layer is what each warning was emotionally trying to do inside of you. The first warning, when it came as a feeling without a name, was the gentlest stop sign your spirit has ever been given. It was not anxiety, it was not depression. It was a holy interruption sent in the softest possible form, asking you to pause your forward momentum just long enough to look up. The reason it felt so quiet is because heaven knew you were already carrying so much. The first warning was tender on purpose. It was meant to feel small enough that you could receive it without breaking. But because it was small, your conscious mind classified it as nothing important and moved on. The first warning was emotional permission to stop. You did not give yourself that permission. So the second warning had to be louder. The second warning, when it came as a circumstance that did not make sense, was a course correction. It was not punishment, it was redirection. The door that closed unexpectedly was not closed against you, it was closed for you. The relationship that fractured was not a punishment for your inability to fix it. It was a removal of weight that was no longer yours to carry. The plan that fell apart was not bad timing. It was the universe gently turning your steering wheel because your hands had locked into the wrong direction. The second warning was emotional permission to release what was no longer aligned with where you were being taken. You did not release it. You prayed for it to be restored. So heaven had to send the third. And here is what most chosen ones never realize. The first two warnings were not warnings of consequence. They were warnings of invitation. The first invited you to pause. The second invited you to release. Both were spoken in the soft language of a father who does not want to break you in order to wake you. But this third warning is different. The third warning is no longer an invitation. The third warning is an arrival. And what is arriving is not a punishment. It is a doorway. Now I want to take you somewhere even deeper, because the spiritual layer of these warnings is the layer that changes how you see the rest of your life. There is a story buried in Scripture that maps this exact pattern almost perfectly, and chosen ones for thousands of years have walked through it without realizing they were walking through their own story. There was a man called Jonah. He was given an assignment and he ran from it. The first warning came in the form of a calling he could feel but did not want to obey, so he boarded a ship in the opposite direction. The second warning came as a storm that no one on the ship could explain, and even then he tried to sleep through it. The third warning came as the deep itself, the dark inside the fish. the silence so total that there was nothing left to distract him. And only inside the third warning did he finally hear the voice he had been running from since the beginning. In the original language of his story, the word for hear is shama. It does not only mean to listen with the ears, it means to hear with the whole body of your obedience. To hear in the language of heaven is to be moved by what you have heard. Jonah heard the first call, and he heard with his ears only. He heard the storm, and he heard with his fear only. But inside the third warning, he heard with his whole self. He heard with Shema. And the moment he heard with Shema, the fish let him go. The third warning was not the punishment. The third warning was the doorway through which his real life finally began. You are not Jonah. But the pattern of 3 is older than Jonah, and it has been written into the rhythm of how heaven reaches the souls it refuses to give up on. The first warning is the call. The second is the storm. The third it is the silence so complete that there is nothing left to drown it out. And tonight you are sitting inside the third warning, and you are reading these words because the silence has finally found you in a place where you can hear with Shema. I hear the Spirit saying, and these are the words being placed on my heart for you, child. I have not been silent, I have been speaking. The silence was never mine, the silence was yours, and I have been trying to reach into it for a long time, and tonight I am finally allowed to be specific with you. But none of this answers the deepest question. If God was speaking and the warnings were given clearly, why could you not hear the first 2? Why did your spirit only catch the third? That is not a question of spiritual weakness. That is a question of frequency, and the answer is going to change how you understand every missed signal of the last decade of your life. Before I give you that answer, gently tap the like button. Not for me. So this third warning can find someone else who is also missing their first 2 right now, somewhere on the other side of the world, waiting for the message that is going to break through to them through your simple agreement. Here is the truth almost no one teaches. Your inability to hear the first 2 warnings was not a moral failure. It was not a lack of faith. It was not a sign that you were less chosen than someone who hears their first nudge. The reason you could not hear is because 2 specific things were happening inside of you at the same time, and either one alone would have been enough to deafen the spirit. But both together created a silence that not even heaven could break through with a soft voice. That is why the warnings had to escalate. That is why mercy had to repeat itself. The first thing happening inside of you is older than you remember. Somewhere around age 7, the world began to dim a frequency you were born with. As a child, you could feel the room before you could explain it. You could sense when something was wrong with someone before they spoke. You believed in things that the adults around you had stopped believing in. That sensitivity, that openness, that natural tuning into the unseen was not imagination. It was a frequency, and it was loud in you when you were small. But the world taught you to doubt it. Schools taught you to focus only on what you could prove. Adults taught you that what you felt did not matter as much as what you could measure. And slowly, year by year, that childhood frequency was dimmed until the part of you that could hear the still small voice was operating at almost no volume at all. The first warning came to that dimmed channel, and it was barely audible, not because the warning was quiet, but because your reception had been suppressed. The second thing happening inside of you is more recent, but just as powerful. Modern life, with its constant pressure, its financial scarcity, its endless inputs and notifications, has trained your inner system into a state of low-grade survival. Your spirit has been broadcasting stress without rest. And in that survival state, the channel that allows you to actually receive what is being given to you, the channel through which peace, abundance, and quiet knowing flow in, has been almost entirely closed. You have been striving without receiving. You have been working hard, praying hard, trying hard, but the receiving channel has been locked. The second warning came when you were inside that locked state. You felt the disruption. You knew something was off. But the channel that would have allowed you to receive the meaning of the disruption was already closed. So you only registered the loss. You did not register the message. What felt like spiritual numbness was actually frequency suppression. What felt like distraction was actually channel blockage. What felt like missing the warning was actually missing the bandwidth to receive it. You did not fail to listen. Your listening had been disabled. What you have just felt, this recognition that your inner attunement was not your fault, has a frequency, a measurable one. Two different scientists working independently in different decades mapped exactly what happens to that frequency from age 7 onward and what happens to the receiving channel under chronic stress. They were not colleagues, they were not partners. But their research arrived at the same conclusion from two different directions. The first one is named the genius song, the second is named the wealth signal. The first restores the child mind frequency that was dimmed when the world taught you to doubt. The second opens the receiving channel that was closed when the world taught you to strive. I will share much more about both later in this message in deeper detail. For now, only know they exist, and that the link is in the description and in the pinned comment below for those whose spirit is already saying yes even before I have finished explaining the rest. But before you decide anything, I want to show you what the third warning is actually pointing toward, because that is the part that turns every missed signal into a blessing, and that is what comes next. Before I can show you what receiving the third warning actually looks like, and I will show you, there is one more layer that has to be revealed first, and this layer changes how you hear everything that comes after it. Most teachers stop at the diagnosis, they tell you what is wrong, they explain why it happened, and then they leave you holding the awareness with no real path forward. That is not what is happening in this message. What is about to be opened in front of you is a path. 3 paths actually. And the spirit that brought you here will know which one is yours. There are 3 ways a chosen one receives the third warning when it finally arrives. Some chosen ones need only the restoration of the child mind, the awakening of the inner frequency that was dimmed when the world told them to grow up too fast. Some chosen ones need only the opening of the receiving channel, the unlocking of the part of them that has been striving without receiving for years. And most chosen ones, the ones who walk the full doorway, need both. The child wakes, the channel opens, and the warning that arrived as urgency becomes the blessing that arrives as homecoming. But before I name the tools that hold these 3 paths, I want to settle something in your spirit, because what you are about to hear deserves a clear mind, not a flooded one. So let me give you a moment of grounding before we continue. Here is what has actually happened in your life, said as plainly as I can say it. The third warning is reaching you because the first 2 could not break through your inner deafness. That deafness was created by 2 specific suppressions. One dimmed your ability to detect the subtle voice. The other closed your ability to receive what was being detected. Together they made you almost soundproof to the frequencies heaven was using to reach you. Not because you were unworthy, but because your inner instruments had been quietly tampered with by years of ordinary modern living, and no one ever told you they could be retuned. Here is what you have been given tonight. You have been given the decoding of what each warning was, why you missed the first 2 without it being your fault, and the layered diagnosis that explains every other moment of spiritual numbness in the last decade of your life. You have been given language for what was happening underneath your awareness. You have been given a way to look back at every confusing feeling, every disrupted plan, every moment of inner unease, and finally see what they were trying to do for you instead of what they seemed to be doing to you. And here is who you actually are after tonight. You are someone whose inner attunement is recoverable. You are someone whose receiving channel is openable. You are someone whose third warning is therefore not the last chance, it is the doorway. The first 2 were the knock. This is the door swinging on its hinge, and the only thing left is for you to walk through it. Now let me speak to who you really are before I show you anything else. Long before there was a word for chosen, there was already a frequency for it. You were born with both. The frequency of curiosity, openness, and effortless learning, and the frequency of receiving as natural as breathing. As a small child, you operated in both. You learned without effort. You believed without proof. You received love and wonder without questioning whether you deserved them. You were a child of light, and the 2 frequencies were running in you at full volume. Then the world began to dim them. Not all at once, slowly. By the time you were 7 or 8, the first frequency was already fading. By the time you were a teenager, the second was almost closed. And the rare adult moments when both came back online, the moments of creative flow, of deep reception, of feeling worthy without having to earn it, those moments became so rare that you began to believe they were random. They were not random. They were memories of who you actually are surfacing through suppression. Let me share a story that may sound familiar in pieces. There is a man 47 years old who has been carrying his family financially for almost 2 decades. By every external measure he was successful, but internally he had become a kind of human battery charged for the use of others, never recharged for himself. He told someone close to him that he could feel his own genius going to sleep year by year, the way a light slowly dims on a long timer. He had stopped having ideas in the shower. He had stopped seeing solutions in his sleep. He had stopped feeling that quiet aha that used to come without effort. After 8 weeks of using the audio I am about to name, he said the simplest thing. He said, "The genius I had as a kid is back." Not because anything in his life had changed yet, but because his frequency had returned, and from that frequency, everything else began to follow. The first wave of restoration is held inside a tool called the Genius Song. It is a digital audio track, 7 minutes long. You listen through headphones with your eyes closed, and you do not have to do anything else. You do not have to meditate. You do not have to chant. You do not have to think about it. The audio uses a technology called brain entrainment, where 2 slightly different sound frequencies are delivered through each ear, and the brain naturally tunes itself to a third resulting frequency between them. That third frequency is gamma. Gamma is the frequency the brain operates at during eureka moments, during deep curiosity, during the kind of learning a child does effortlessly. It is the frequency that was strong in you at 5 and almost silent in you at 35. The Genius Song was developed by Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscientist with 34 years of research behind him. His work was supported by decades of independent studies at MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other leading research institutions. None of those institutions are selling anything. They simply documented over and over again that the gamma frequency exists, that it can be measurably reactivated, and that the dimming of it has a cause that can be reversed. What this tool actually does is reverse what the world started doing to your frequency at age 7. It wakes the child mind. It is not a promise that you will become a genius overnight. It is a first-wave restoration. The child returns, curiosity returns, the willingness to learn without effort returns, and the warnings you have been missing become audible again because the frequency they were broadcasting on is finally back online inside of you. Many chosen ones who walk this path further encounter another audio later after they have spent some time with the Genius Song. It is called the youthful brain. It is a stronger amplification of the same restoration designed to protect the child mind once it has been awakened, so the world cannot dim it again the way it did the first time. You will see it appear after the first decision settles only if your spirit confirms it speaks to you. The original alone is complete. The next layer is only for those whose path asks for it. Now hear me carefully, because what comes next is the heart of why the Genius Song alone is not enough for most chosen ones. The Genius Song wakes the child within you. It restores the curiosity, the openness, the magic. But the child, even fully awakened, cannot reach for what is hers because there is a second suppression that the Genius Song does not touch. There is a closed channel through which the child receives, and that channel has been locked by something modern science has only recently begun to map. That something is called the stress signal. It is the chronic activation of beta hyperactivity, the brain frequency that runs you in survival mode. Beta is meant to be a short-term emergency response. In modern life, with constant financial pressure, scarcity messaging, and uninterrupted inputs, beta has become your daily baseline. And while beta is running, the receiving channel called alpha, the channel through which peace and abundance and quiet knowing flow in, stays almost entirely closed. The child wakes up inside you, and she looks around, and she sees that the door through which she used to receive everything has been shut. She is awake, but she cannot reach for what was promised. Independently, in a different decade, working separately from Dr. Lake and from a different research tradition entirely, Dr. Stephen Newton, a former neuroscientist at Stanford, was mapping that exact second layer. His research lineage runs through Boston University, Stanford, Harvard, and other research institutions. He broke from the mainstream establishment because he believed this work needed to be released to ordinary chosen ones, not kept inside laboratory walls. His tool is a 5-minute audio paired with what is called the 9-word wealth script. The script itself is rooted in an ancient teaching tradition that is over 3,300 years old, calibrated to bypass a small egg-shaped region of the brain called the thalamus, where what neuroscientists call neural rigidity tends to trap people in striving without receiving. So now you understand the sequence. The genius song wakes the child. The wealth signal opens the channel through which the child receives. Both are needed. In that order, the child first, the reception second. Long ago, a teacher said, "The kingdom belongs to those who become like little children." Few realized he was describing a frequency. I hear the Spirit saying, "And these are the words being placed on my heart for you. Become like the child first, then receive what was promised." The second wave completes what the first one began. The tool that holds it is called the wealth signal. It is a digital audio 5 minutes, paired with a 9-word wealth script you repeat quietly while listening. The mechanism is simple to describe. The audio is calibrated to guide your brain frequency from beta, the stress signal, into alpha, the receiving state. The script bypasses the thalamus rigidity that tends to keep modern minds locked in survival. Together, the audio and the script open the channel that has been closed in you sometimes for decades. Dr. Newton broke from the mainstream research establishment to release this work. The institutions in his lineage, Boston University, Stanford, Harvard, and others, did not commission this for sale. They documented the underlying science of how beta dominance closes alpha reception and how alpha reception can be measurably restored. Dr. Newton built the tool that translates that research into something a chosen one can actually use in their own home in 5 minutes a day. What this tool does after the child mind has been restored is open the channel through which the child finally receives. The kingdom flows in the way a small child receives a gift, not striving, not earning, not negotiating, simply receiving what was always meant for her. Many chosen ones who go furthest on this path encounter another tool later after they have spent some time with the wealth signal. It is called the wealth signal accelerator. It is a deeper amplification that brings the receiving state further into ordinary daily life, instead of only existing during the 5-minute session. You will discover it only after the first decision settles and only if your spirit confirms it. If it does not speak to you, the original is enough. The original alone is complete. And one quiet note about both before we continue. Some chosen ones whose path asks them to go further than most combine both deeper amplifications, the wealth signal accelerator and the youthful brain, working together. You will only encounter the combination after you receive the originals and only if it calls to you in that moment. The originals alone are complete. The combination is reserved for the rare chosen ones whose path requires them to walk further than the others on this same road. Let me share another story before we move into how all of this is offered to you tonight. There is a woman 39 years old, a caretaker by profession and by family role. She had built $15,000 in savings through years of careful work. And yet she described herself as always being one client cancellation away from disaster. The savings were real. The panic underneath them was also real. She had tried affirmations for over a year. She believed them part way. She doubted them part way. After 2 weeks of using the wealth signal, she noticed that she had quoted a new client a price 30 upper higher than her usual rate, and the client accepted without negotiating. She had not psyched herself up, she had not rehearsed. The higher price simply appeared in her proposal as obvious. She told someone close to her, "The wealth signal did not give me more confidence. It removed the panic background that had been making me underprice myself for the last 5 years." Now you may already be hearing some quiet questions inside of you. Let me speak to a few of them directly. If you have tried meditation, affirmations, manifestation courses, and they did not produce lasting change, that is because those practices touch the surface of attention. They do not retune the underlying frequency. The 2 waves we are talking about are not techniques you have to master. They are calibrations the audio does on your behalf while you simply listen. If you're wondering whether this is placebo, brain entrainment is a measurable physical event. EEG readings show the frequency shift in real time. It is not belief that activates it. It is the audio itself. If you're wondering why 2 products instead of 1, the answer is simple. There are 2 distinct deficiencies and one solution cannot reach both. And if you are quietly wondering whether you are even chosen enough for any of this, the fact that you have stayed with this message for this long has already answered that question. The chosen who are not chosen do not stay this long. They moved on inside the first 2 minutes. You are still here. So let me show you the 3 paths now exactly as they are placed on the page below this video. The first path is what we call restoration. It is for chosen ones who feel that the most urgent work is awakening the child within. Some chosen ones know deep in their spirit that they need this first wave only. The genius song alone, 7 minutes a day, 4 bonuses included. It is the honored entry point, and for some, it is the entire path they need. The second path is what we call reception. It is for chosen ones who already have an active spiritual practice, whose child mind has stayed alive in some form, but who recognize that the receiving channel has been closed. The wealth signal alone, 5 minutes a day with the 9-word wealth script, 4 bonuses included. This is a rarer path. It is for chosen ones whose first wave is already running and who only need the second wave opened. The third path is what we call complete restoration. It is for the majority of chosen ones who realize when they sit with this honestly that both waves need to be activated. The child wakes and the channel opens. The genius song first, restoring the frequency that was dimmed at 7. The wealth signal second, opening the channel that was closed under chronic stress. Both audios and all 8 bonuses combined. This is the path most chosen ones we serve walk because the 2 waves compound each other. They do not simply add up, they multiply. The child wakes inside a closed channel and cannot receive what was promised. The channel opens for an adult mind that has lost its child and cannot recognize what is being given. Either alone is half restoration. The 2 together are what the ancient teaching meant when it said, "Become like little children and the kingdom is yours." There is one more thing I have to say, and I have to say it clearly because protecting you matters more than impressing you. There are counterfeit websites. There are imitation audios circulating with the names The Genius Song and The Wealth Signal that are not the real tools. They do not contain brain entrainment. They do not contain the calibrated frequency shift. They are ordinary audio files using borrowed names. The only place to receive both authentic tools, with all 8 bonuses, included with the full 90-day guarantee that lets you keep every bonus even if you choose to refund, is through the link in the description and the pinned comment below this message. Do not search for these tools on Amazon. Do not search on Spotify. Do not search on streaming platforms. The originals are not there. Now, I want you to do one small thing before we continue. Take one breath. Place your hand gently over the center of your chest if it feels right. Close your eyes for 2 seconds. And in that small darkness, do not ask yourself what you should buy. Ask yourself a different question. Ask which path is mine, the first path, the second path, the third path. Your spirit already knows. It has known since I began describing them. The 3 doors are placed below this video, in the description, in the pinned comment. Step into the door that calls you. The mind will hesitate, the spirit will not. The 3 paths are waiting for you on the page below. All 3 are honored, all 3 are seen. There is no wrong door. Only the door that is yours tonight. The link is in the description and a second link is in the pinned comment in case the first does not load. Whichever path your spirit chooses, the door is open. What was just placed in front of you was a path. Whether you choose to walk it tonight or wait or watch from a distance for a season, the path stays open. Heaven does not pressure chosen ones into doorways. Heaven simply leaves the door visible, and the spirit that is ready will know. Now, I want to give you something that costs you nothing except your willingness to receive it. Because whether or not you ever pick up either of those tools, there is something you can begin tonight in your own room with no equipment and no extra effort that will start retraining your spirit to hear the next warning before it has to repeat itself. I want to share this with you carefully because most teachers, when they talk about hearing God, give you more practices to add to a life that is already too full. They tell you to pray more, to fast more, to journal more, to meditate more. and I am going to tell you the opposite. The reason you missed the first 2 warnings was not because you were not doing enough spiritual practice. It was because there was too much noise inside of you for any quiet voice to land. The 3rd warning is reaching you not because heaven got louder, but because some of the noise has begun to thin. Tonight I'm going to give you a way to thin it further on purpose. I call it the pause protocol, and it works because it is built on the one principle most chosen ones never apply: the principle of subtraction. Here is how it works. For 3 nights in a row, beginning tonight if you can, you are going to give your spirit 30 minutes of total silence before sleep. Not soft music, not a sleep podcast, not a meditation app. Total silence. Phone in another room or face down with notifications off. No audio of any kind for the full 30 minutes. Just you in the quiet with nothing competing for your inner attention. This is not meditation. You are not trying to clear your mind. You are not trying to feel anything in particular. You are simply removing every input that has been crowding the channel where the warnings would have landed. On the first night, the silence will probably feel uncomfortable. You will notice how loud your thoughts actually are when there is nothing else to drown them out. Do not fight that. Just notice it and let it pass. On the second night, the discomfort will begin to thin and you will start to notice something else underneath it. A quieter awareness, a sense of presence that has been waiting for room. On the 3rd night, often something will arrive, a phrase, a clarity, a knowing about something in your life. It may be small, it may be enormous. Either way, write it down the moment it comes, even 1 sentence. Because what arrives in the silence is the next warning given in advance while there is still time to act on it gently. This is the pause protocol. 3 nights, 30 minutes of silence each night, 1 sentence written down each morning of what arrived in the quiet. That is all. No more, no additions. 3. The reason it works is because most of the spiritual signal you have been missing was not blocked by demonic interference or by any cosmic conspiracy against you. It was simply buried under noise you never noticed you were generating. Subtract the noise for 3 nights and the signal returns on its own. Now I want to give you one more thing before we close, and this one happens entirely inside of you. You do not need to move. You do not need to write anything down. You can be on a bed, in a chair, in a parked car listening to this with your eyes still open. Whatever position you are in is the right position. In your mind, only in your mind, I want you to lift yourself up above your own life. See yourself standing on a high stone wall with a horn in your hand. The wall belongs to you. It is the wall around your own life, your own story, your own future. Below you, you can see the city of your daily existence, the streets and rooms and conversations and obligations that fill your ordinary days. And from the height of this wall, you can see something the people in the city below cannot see. You can see the storm that has been moving toward them for months. You can also see on the far side of that storm a wide open field of grain ripening in late afternoon light, ready for harvest. You are not the one being warned. You are the watchman. The 3rd warning was not given to you to frighten you. It was given to you because heaven needed someone on this wall watching for what was coming, ready to blow the horn for the parts of yourself that was still asleep down there in the streets. The warning was always given to your highest self first, and your highest self has been trying to reach the rest of you across the distance between the wall and the city. Tonight the message has finally arrived in full. Stand on that wall for a moment longer. Notice the stillness in your spirit. Not the stillness of a body, but the quietness underneath your normal noise. The watchman is not anxious. The watchman is not panicked. The watchman has perspective, because the watchman can see both the storm and the harvest, and the watchman knows that the storm is what makes the harvest possible. When you come back to the city below when this message ends, and you return to your ordinary life, you will not return as the same person who scrolled into this. Some part of you will remain on that wall. That is the part of you that hears the next warning before it has to repeat itself. That is the part of you the 3rd warning came to wake. So let me say something to you now plainly, the way I would want someone to say it to me if I had been the one missing the warnings. You are allowed to have missed the first 2 warnings. You are allowed to have needed 3 nudges instead of 1. You are allowed to receive the 3rd without carrying the shame of the first 2. You are allowed to be the soul that needed the longer mercy. You are allowed to begin now in this exact moment with no penalty, no debt, no apology owed to any version of yourself or anyone else. You are allowed to walk forward without explaining the past to anyone who did not walk the wall with you. And you do not owe anyone an apology for becoming who you were always intended to be. Let me tell you about a chosen one who walked this exact pattern, because his story is the closest mirror I can give you to what may be unfolding in your own life right now. He was in his early 40s. 9 months ago, he was facing his own third warning in 3 different areas of his life at once. His marriage was unraveling in slow motion, his career was stalling at the exact moment he had expected breakthrough, and his sense of God, the deep inner connection he had carried since childhood, had gone almost completely silent. He told someone close to him that he could not remember the last time he had heard the still small voice clearly. He had been begging for clarity for over a year. The clarity had not come. He did the simplest thing. He stopped striving. He gave himself 40 days of inner silence, not a fast from food, a fast from begging. He stopped praying for answers. He stopped demanding that God respond. He just sat with the unanswered question every morning for 30 minutes in the quiet. He did not journal during those 40 days. He did not read books about hearing God. He simply removed the noise of his own asking and waited. On day 38, the answer arrived. Not as a voice, not as a vision, as a knowing. He understood all at once what each of the 3 warnings of his life had been preparing him for. He saw the connection between the marriage strain and the career stall and the divine silence. And he saw that they were not 3 separate problems. They were 3 parts of one redirection. Within 90 days of receiving that knowing, his marriage healed in a way that 12 months of therapy had not produced. His career reorganized around a calling he had been ignoring for a decade. And the still small voice returned, not as something he had to chase, but as something that had been waiting for him to stop running long enough to hear it. He proved himself in silence before the warning could prove itself in his life. That same proving is available to you beginning tonight, not in 40 days, but in whatever amount of silence you can give your spirit, even if it is only the 3 nights of the pause protocol. The principle is the same. Subtraction creates space. Space creates reception. Reception turns the warning into the blessing it was always trying to become. And before this message ends, I want you to know that there is one more thing waiting for you in the next few minutes. A declaration prepared specifically for the chosen one who stayed all the way to the end. A sealing that I believe will stay with you long after the warnings have receded back into the silence they came from. So stay one more breath with me. What is about to be spoken over your life is the reason this entire message was placed in front of you tonight. The words begin to quiet now. What was said has been said. What was opened has been opened. What remains is breath and presence and the silent agreement between you and what you have always been. Before anything else is spoken, I want to witness with you for just a moment where you are right now. You came into this message a few minutes ago carrying something. You may not have known what you were carrying when you began. Some weight that did not have a name. Some fatigue that was older than this season. Some quiet ache underneath the surface of your ordinary days. And you stayed. You did not scroll away when the message slowed down. You did not leave when the easy parts ended. You stayed long enough to be reached, and that itself is sacred. There are chosen ones who could not stay this long tonight. And the third warning will find them through some other doorway in some other hour. But you stayed, and the doorway opened here, in this exact place, in this exact stillness. The source has seen every weight you have carried in silence over the last months. Every prayer you stopped praying because you were too tired to finish it. Every moment you wanted to reach for help and held back because you were not sure who would understand. Every quiet collapse no one in your daily life was awake enough to notice. None of it was missed. None of it was stored against you. All of it was held and waited on and woven into the orchestration that finally brought the third warning to a place where it could be heard. So now I want you to do something simple. In your mind only. In your mind, gather every missed warning of the last decade, every moment you turned away, every numbness you accepted as normal, every piece of yourself you put to sleep, because the world demanded that you grow up faster than your spirit was ready to grow. And gather them all in your hands. Hold them for one breath. Now I want you to release them, not into the void, not into the dark, into the open hand of the one who sent the warnings in the first place. He does not need them returned. He needs you returned. So let them fall out of your hands and into his, and let them stop being yours to carry. I hear the Spirit saying, and these are the words being placed on my heart for you. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are the one who heard the third call when the world could not hear the first. So receive what is about to be sealed over your life. Now speak these words inside of you slowly, as if they are being placed into your spirit one at a time. I am the one who hears. I am the one who receives. I am the one who walks through. I am the cycle breaker. The pattern of missed warnings ends in me. What 3 generations did not hear, I have heard tonight. I am the truth carrier. What was given to me in this hour will be given through me to the ones who are still missing their first 2. I am the voice. What I heard in the silence others will hear because I rose when the third warning came. I am the spiritual warrior. The deafness will not return. The numbness will not have the last word. The silence will not deafen me again. You are not alone in this hour. Right now, all across the world, in different cities, in different rooms, in different time zones, there are chosen ones receiving their own third warning, sealing their own declarations, walking through their own doorways. You are part of a quiet awakening that no algorithm can measure and no headline will ever report. The warning that found you tonight is finding others tonight too, and together you are forming a network of light that the surface of the world has not yet noticed. You are not the only one who stayed, you are simply one of the first. And the watchman, the one who has been blowing the horn over the wall of your life for months, puts the horn down now. The blast has done its work. The city is awake. The third warning has done what the first 2 were sent to begin. What was urgency is now peace. What was warning is now blessing. The wall is still there. The watchman is still there. But the horn is no longer needed for this season because the chosen one in the streets below finally heard and rose and walked toward the wall. Do not say amen yet. Sit with this for 60 seconds before you move. Do not rush back into your day. Do not pick up your phone. Just stay in this frequency for 1 full minute and let what was just sealed settle into the silence underneath your skin. You do not need to do anything during this minute. You only need to be present to it. And now slowly, gently, when you are ready, it is sealed. What was declared over your life in this hour is now sealed in the unseen. It does not require your effort to maintain. It does not require your performance to keep it active. It is simply true now in a way it was not true an hour ago. And your only work going forward is to walk in the direction of what has already been placed inside of you. If what was declared resonated in your spirit, let your like be your agreement, not for me, for you. Let it be your amen without words. And let it carry this message further, so that the next chosen one who is missing their first 2 warnings can find their third in time. There are more words being prepared for the next season of your life. Stay connected to this space so they can find you when they are ready. The Spirit that brought this message to you tonight is already shaping the next one, and you do not want to miss the next door because you were not in the room when it opened. Someone came to mind for you while you were listening to this. Someone who has been pulled away from everyone. Someone who has been unusually quiet for the last several weeks. Someone who has been struggling to explain what they are going through and has stopped trying to explain it. Share this message with them. They may be in their second warning right now. And your simple act of sharing is what allows the third one to find them in time. You may be the doorway through which the third warning reaches them, the way someone else was the doorway through which it reached you tonight. If you are the one who heard the third call tonight, type the words "I am" in the comments below. Not as performance, as a seal, so that 6 months from now, when you scroll back and see this message in your watch history, you can read your own comment and remember the exact moment your life began to flow in the direction it was always meant to. What just happened was not a video, it was a transmission. The next time you sit in your own silence, you will know how to hear differently. The next time something does not make sense, a circumstance, a feeling, a pattern of 3, you will know to lean in instead of explain it away. The watchman within you is awake now, and the watchman does not go back to sleep. And the next time the horn is blown over your life, you will not need 3 blasts. You will rise at the first. May the third warning become the doorway. May the silence after this message become the path. May the one who warned you twice meet you fully on the other side of your obedience tonight. And may every chosen one who hears this message in this hour, in this season, in this lifetime, walk through the door that has been waiting for them since before they knew they had been chosen at all. It is sealed. It is done.